The Israeli-Palestine conflict, which recently flared up again, is one of the planet's most notorious territorial disputes, having lasted over half a century. And while the impacts on the inhabitants are well documented, how it affects Palestinian football is never really explored, as it is insignificant in the wider picture. However, for those that enjoy football history in obscure nations, let's take a deep dive into the history of Palestinian football. The Palestinian Football Association was first created in 1928, with only Jewish players ever featuring. The one Arab player that volunteered for the team was not used for tenuous reasons. 30 years later, this would transform into the Israeli Football Association after the formation of the State of Israel, leaving Palestine without a team. One was eventually formed 5 years later, but still came under the IFA umbrella. After the Oslo Accords, the peace agreement between Palestine and Israel, Palestine were finally admitted into FIFA. The disgraced FIFA president, Sepp Blatter, was the driving force behind this, apparently in an attempt to win the Nobel Peace Prize. His stupidity has become more apparent in the following years. Israel fiercely opposed the move, and the political ballpark has often been brought into the FIFA boardroom ever since. The president of the Palestinian FA, Rajub, a military general, tried to get Israel banned from FIFA as the UN has ruled the settlement illegal. FIFA members are meant to follow UN rules. After years of Blatter delaying, the next president, Infantino, emphatically stated FIFA were not going to rule on the conflict. After a period of development preceding their entry into FIFA, and even climbing above Israel in the world rankings, Palestine has met a huge roadblock. Neither of the country's two top flights, Gaza Strip and West Bank, are included on major scouting platforms such as Y-Scout, meaning talent is stuck in the country. The national team of Palestine refuses to use players plying their trade in Israel, and players that are called up often have to wait 24 hours to leave the country due to various checkpoints on the borders. The delay doesn't just impact players either. Games are often delayed due to questioning of referees at checkpoints. Fast forward to 2021, and the Palestinian national team is in crisis, looking for their fourth manager in 4 years after sacking the hugely popular Barakat in 2018, and in need of 4 points in the World Cup qualifiers to avoid a playoff for the Asian Cup qualifying. Israeli airstrikes in the area have also killed midfielder Muath Azzanin and destroyed the homes of 2 others. Mobs targeting Palestinian players outside of the Gaza have stopped large amounts of players meeting their group for the upcoming World Cup qualifiers. And the final nail in the coffin of COVID-19 has decimated the finances of the 2 top division leagues after not playing for months.